Hello everyone, this is Boricua Binks and welcome back to Let's Play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, where we are continuing on in the 5th case of the game, The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story. We are in the last part of the trial, and I feel like this might be the final episode of this Let's Play. So let's get started. Please let this be the end. Let's do it. And we come in on him eating nonchalantly. This young lad wants to tone down his imagination. He's insulting me and my profession quite enough. However, if you don't put this matter to bed and dispel any doubts about my involvement, then I'll happily submit to a body search. Ah, so he doesn't have it on him, if he's saying this. What? He's going to agree to it? I presume you're aware of the precipice on which you now teeter, my learned student friend. You've made a most serious allegation against Scotland Yard here. If, following the search of the inspector's personal effects, no disc is found, you will be deemed unfit for court service. This trial will end, and my country's government will formally demand of yours that you are severely reprimanded. That's some bullcrap. That sounds serious. Indeed, to have a visiting student make such defamatory remarks about our country's most senior police force is not something Her Majesty's government will be able to overlook. You're just threatening Runa because you're scared. You go, girl. The accusation is beyond serious. You must be prepared for grave consequences. It's true. I can't imagine Gregson would have accepted a gentleman's agreement for something so critical. The disc must have physically changed hands, which means the inspector should have it. But somehow, something doesn't feel quite right here. Yeah. How does he no longer have it then? Very well, Counsel. You know the implications, so let me ask you one final time. Yes, my lord. Do you still persist in formally requesting a search of the inspector's personal effects? The way he acted, I don't think he has it on him anymore. But then, did he give it back to Graydon? Maybe he gave it back to Graydon? Let's search someone else. Has to be it. I didn't see him. I mean, they didn't. Wait. Oh, they're so slick. Okay. Yeah. He must have put it into, like, Nash Skulkin's pocket or something, because there was that weird moment where he, like, suddenly got angry and, like, grabbed him, and we were commenting, like, oh, that was weird, that was random. There was really no explanation for that. So it's like somehow he knew that we were getting suspicious of him, and he must have put the disc on Skulkin at that moment. Yeah, that makes more sense than it... Well, I mean, it could be Graydon, but if we had the choice, I think maybe Skulkin is the better option. Yeah! Yes, the defense formally demands the search be conducted. Well... Don't say you weren't warned. But your typical Nipponese stubbornness may well land you in hot water this time. Perhaps the lesson will do you some good. Fair enough. I've got nothing to hide.
Very well then. Bailiff, conduct a search of the inspector's personal effects, please. Oh,
He did the play. He hasn't done that in a while.
the defense demands a search, but not of Inspector Gregson.
What? Now what's all this?
Yeah, see, he's angry now, uh-huh.
I'm the one you're accusing, aren't I? I thought you wanted to search me.
No, no, Inspector. Not you. Somebody else.
What's the meaning of all this, eh? Lost it at last, have you, sunshine? The court shouldn't have to put up with this nonsense. You're being completely irrational.
Oh, who said this? Be quiet, all of you.
Oh, be quiet, all of you! Renault's doing what you all told him to do, and having the courage of his convictions.
Yeah, you tell them, Iris. Y'all better listen to the little girl.
So you should respect that and listen to what he has to say in good faith. Because that's the British way.
Vincix is like, how dare little girl tell me off. Well said, young lady. Indeed, this court is in awe of the defense counsel's conviction and eagerly awaits his next words.
You what? Now don't be hasty, my lord.
If I'm not mistaken about the things I've seen in court today, I'm fairly sure that I know who has that desk at the moment. There's only one person it can be. Counsel, of whom do you request this search now? See, this is interesting though, because like, if you don't remember about that interaction between him and Skulkin, you could have gotten this wrong. And I almost could have as well. Whew, they really didn't like allude to it much either. It was like a hint, but still. Damn. Alright, it has to be you.
Take that!
Of my lord, Mr. Nash Skulkin. Well, I never.
Eh? Blimey! Me? Him?
See, he doesn't even know. He slipped it into his pocket without him noticing. Very well then, bailiff. Restrain the witness and conduct a thorough search of his personal effects.
Hold it!
Yep. Yep, we're right.
Please, my lord.
Inspector?
Scotland Yard, has to object to this search.
Objection!
Uh-oh.
Unfortunately for you, Inspector, your objections carry no weight here. In this courtroom, only the prosecution and the defense have the authority to object. But love on sakes, I have no idea what forces are in play that might influence your actions. But personally, I have no intention of obstructing the course of this trial. Ugh.
Bailiff, carry out the search.
Now he's like, ah, shit. No, hold on, Mo. I don't know nothing. Nothing about no disc. Cut it out. Ah. He's like, I don't want to be fondled and manhandled. Here, my lord, in the witness's pocket. I found this.
Yep. Good lord, that's
another music box disc. I don't know nothing about it. Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We got you. That is the second music box disc left behind by Magnus McGilded. Is it not, Inspector Gregson?
Uh. Order, order, order! Mr. Skulkin, what have you to say for yourself? Gordon Bennett, I mean just Gordon Flamin' Bennett. I swear I didn't know nothing about that disc. Honest to God. Counsel, would you please explain what exactly is going on here? The alleged deal that was struck was between this witness and this detective, no?
Without question, my lord.
Then for pity's sake, why on earth was this man in possession of the disc that the inspector traded for information?
Inspector Gregson is a shrewd, calculating man who rarely loses his composure. But at one particular point in this trial, he exhibited some unusual behavior for a brief moment.
I don't recall. What unusual behavior?
Bruh. I mean, yes, this trial has been ungodly long, but like, how could you forget something as weird and outlandish as that?
Oh.
It was, yes, during my cross-examination of Mr. Graydon. Yeah. Okay, tell me Graydon, blah blah blah. The second disc, and that's when it happened, when he even brought it up. I admit nothing of the sort, and then that. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash Skulkin by his coat and was shaking him violently.
Yeah, he did and all. Thought me noggin was gonna fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I'd been born as me brother, I swear. Or I was.
And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that?
I ain't got a clue. He just suddenly turned and grabbed me whistle like that and started shaking me. Why the blazes didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down to the station? That's what he said. Yelled it right down my ear hole, he did. My head's still throbbing now.
The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc.
Well, bless my wig, he hid it. You. But I'm afraid I failed to comprehend the motive here. If the detective had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have submitted the item as evidence. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. Why ever not? As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions.
This is all because of frickin' the big cheese. What's his name again? Strongheart. Yeah.
My orders were recover the medium used to convey the secrets leaked from the ministry, and do it on the QT, strictly hush-hush. Hush-hush, a top-secret assignment, is it? As far as we are aware, the information stolen comes from confidential government communications. It would seem that if that information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector?
Just admit it.
I'm operating under direct orders from the ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court. You took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness.
Ah, does this mean... He only pretended to attack Mr. Skulkin in order to get close enough to him, to slip the second disc into his pocket. So it was all a pretense? Yes. Can we move on now? Well now, Inspector Gregson, and you, Mr. Graydon. Are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? No. He's still gonna put up a fight.
Admit to it. Yours truly. Please.
Mr. Graydon, you keep dragging this shit out. I swear I'm gonna jump over there and beat your ass. Ugh. I'm gonna strangle him myself. Oh my god. Ah, okay, sorry. Whew, calm down, Binks.
Clearly, our eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed that disc to the inspector.
Objection!
But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole?
I'm under no obligation to explain.
What?
Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit. So sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit.
He'd rather go down for perjury than for murder and treason.
Murder, leaking government secrets, striking a deal with the detective. All of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about.
You... what? How much longer, Iris? How much more of this? Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? No, neither of them is gonna admit it, bro.
Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. I am acting in the best interests of the country. Whatever I've done, it's been in the name of justice.
Ah.
So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guiding light when you're making your decisions.
That's bull. This is quite a quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leanings. No, he just appealed to them. No.
Well now, as a fellow servant of Queen and Country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector.
Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character.
Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me.
Well, as a fellow professional, I'd like to put my faith in the detective, really.
Graydon is highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop.
So you don't care that he killed a man. Okay. And that he's a treasonous jerk.
Detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this I cannot say.
I don't believe it. These 6 jurors are... They're going to believe Gregson if they declare their decision now.
Is Ginny going to be found guilty?
If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose. Either some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Windibank or stole those government secrets. Just play the frickin' discs. That's all you have to do. Play them. Or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Well then, Counsel. I think it's time I imposed on the jurors to declare their final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence you have thus far not presented to the court. If I let the judge call on the jurors to announce their leanings, Gina will be found guilty.
So there's no choice then, Runo. You have to throw some more evidence at them.
This is it now. It all comes down to this. Who do I present evidence against? Gregson or Graydon? I feel like Graydon is not gonna admit nothing. We might as well just do the discs with Gregson. I know he's not going to be happy, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Inspector Gregson, there is one final piece of evidence I would like you to see.
What's that then?
If you refuse to acknowledge that you did in fact strike a deal with the witness here today, then you leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly. Yes! Here we go. Get him.
Well, go on.
This is my last chance. It looks like I'm going to have to force his hand here. One final piece of evidence to get this detective to admit to the deal he clearly struck with Graydon. Is the new one here? Maybe it just refers to both of them, so let's do it.
Take that!
Is that Mr. McGilded's music box disc, Counsel? Yes, the first disc of 2, which has already been placed in Mr. McGilded's special music box, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the sound produced by the music box again. Only this time, with the second disc we've just discovered set in place as well. Goodness, this disc, Counsel.
Hold it!
Here we go.
No, wait, I can't let you do that.
Why not?
Because it's got nothing to do with this case, that's why.
Stop saying stuff like that.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector.
Uh?
The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier from this music box were part of a Morse code message. Yeah. We know that Morse code comprises of 2 distinct tones. The defense believes that the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message. And now we have a chance to confirm that theory.
For crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. If you go letting the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that, it's treason.
Then do you admit the charge? That in order to protect those state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings with the witness?
You're mad. If you let that secret information out into the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot.
Objection!
I'm not from here, so oh well. Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie to the court, and all because, by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. Well, By fair means or foul, I'm prepared to do mine. Yeah! I'm so proud of you.
Don't you dare.
I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I make an enemy of. Yeah! Oh my god, I'm getting all emotional. Yes, yes, Asogi would be so proud of you, babe. Benzix is so casual about all of this. My lord, if you please. The court must hear the sounds made by that music box.
Come on, Van Zeeks, for Pete's sake, stop him.
Objection!
Leg!
Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. Ugh!
And he got that leg down pretty quick.
In this courtroom, my duty is to the law, so let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth by fair means or foul.
Hey, he's on our side! Yay!
No!
Very well. The defense's stance here and that of the prosecution has been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen as this music box is set in operation once more. This time with the second disc in place, and both discs playing simultaneously. Oh, the camera angle, all of that's really cool. Wow. Oh, listen to that. It's unmistakable now. It's Morse code.
Hold it! Alright, I admit it. Whatever you want. Just go and shut that bloomin' box up.
All right. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you or did you not strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the pawnbroker's storeroom door, Inspector? Get him.
I did. Ugh! Stop! What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like that young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess, and we were stood here in the stand together. That's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile! Shut up! Psst, you there. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me at this very moment. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. Or information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon become very public indeed.
Damn, you got balls, bro.
I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal and told him details about the case that should have put him in the clear. The peephole in the storeroom door and the bloodstains on the overcoat.
Aha, both. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that. Yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury.
I did. But then it turned out the paper had only been made that night, after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest.
Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself?
Uh,
There's nothing and no one left for you to hide behind. Get him! Oh, this feels so good. Get him, please! End this! You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbrokery in the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windibank.
You,
Breakdown time. Oh, shit.
traitor!
Oh, he's trying to kill him. Holy crap. Y'all. He tried to murder him right in front of y'all.
Bailiff, bailiff, restrain that man. At once.
He's a dangerous guy. What the hell? Oh my god, what a breakdown. Whew. Against the Scotland Yard inspector of two. Like, holy crap. You should have fought back, bro. What were you doing?
That's it then. It's all over.
Finally. Okay. You in shock? Overwhelmed? Oh, this is graded. Okay.
I despised my life growing up. Those slums are vile places. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money they had was never spent on me.
I don't feel sorry for you, though. You're an a-hole.
So I set about studying to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole.
And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination. But then you decided to try to sell government secrets? Why?
Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money.
I tell you, man, the greed for money is what really ruins a person. You know? Like, I totally understand wanting to become successful and wanting to be comfortable and able to, you know, spend money in a way that's like, it covers your basic needs, but also some of your extra little wants, right? But to get to that point where you just keep throwing away or ruining other aspects of your personality or of your life or other people's lives, it's like, it's not worth it, you know? Sure, it's nice to make a lot of money, but is it really necessary? I think I would choose more free time, more happiness, more, you know, other things in life over extra money. It's just something that I've been thinking about lately. But yeah, I mean, Graydon is obviously an example of the greed. Greed leads to corruption. That's what they say. And I get it. You know, you're coming from the slums, and it's like he has like a complex, right? That when you come from nothing, it's like that's when you really want more. But I think you should also try to stay humble. Stay humble. Humble and blessed.
Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out, with more money than anyone who lived in that squalor could ever imagine. Then one day I met him. Mr. Magnus McGilded.
That a-hole. Oh, what voice did I do for him? God darn it, it was so long ago.
You're a fiend with a talent, you are.
No, I don't remember.
I've money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with my little plan now.
He was evil. He was evil. I really didn't like that guy.
I was to steal the ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for inspections of the ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil's offerings, how easy it is to succumb.
But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing.
And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable. By using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him when I was still a child.
Yeah, you got your father killed, too.
Yes, Mr. Mason Milverton.
That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagined his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again, to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years earlier.
Huh, this is interesting art style. I like it.
Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh?
He was a different man to the one in my memory. A thin, frail old man. But poverty had never broken him. Never corrupted him like it had me.
And now you got him killed, so you should feel guilty, bro.
I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason. So I made up a story.
Oh, he didn't even know the truth? Damn.
I've got some work for you, father. I need some music box discs made.
Music box discs, eh?
A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I've brought the score with me. There are two, actually.
I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft.
Oh. You got your dad killed, man. You should... Ugh. It's really upsetting. I feel bad for his dad now.
That's how I had him make the two discs. Thereby splitting the information in two. You were taking considerable precautions indeed. It was to protect myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in two separate transactions. The first involved the first of the two discs and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then, on receipt of the second disc, he would pay 1,000 guineas.
Damn.
So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of the deal. The exchange of the second disc.
Yes, I'd sold the man information that way a number of times already. But it seems he became reluctant to part with his money.
But that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon. For why was it that on the omnibus 2 months ago, your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded and not yourself?
When I received the 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles.
Wow.
But my father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious, And when he did, he said to me,
Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand?
Aww. Aww. He was trying to protect his son. Oh no.
Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore.
Damn.
that was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea what was actually on the discs I had asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night.
Yeah.
All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home.
So here's my thing then. Did you kill McGilded after the end of that trial? Because he had killed your father, so you somehow lured him into the omnibus and set it on fire? I mean, damn, that's pretty brutal. But he did kill your dad, so... Yikes. Oh, he's posing. Different pose.
It was only then that I found out what sort of a monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name.
There we go.
To exact revenge.
Revenge?
As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man will no doubt be able to imagine. McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. To crush any semblance of justice in his trial.
Yeah. Sorry, Renosuke, you were a pawn in that.
The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, and witnesses were bribed. That trial 2 months ago was a farce from start to finish.
My feet had barely touched British soil back then, and I walked into that hornet's nest, completely unaware of the sinister background to it all.
Yikes.
I've made plenty of money out of my dealings with McGilded by then, so I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that.
Are you saying that?
I think you have the picture now. Yeah, might as well admit to another murder on top of everything. After he twisted everything to his favor in this courtroom to ensure that he walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered the justice that monster deserved.
Never thought I'd feel bad for you, but yeah.
That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly.
McGilded's death that day was caused by this man.
Everything is ready, sir. Yeah. You lured him into the courtroom. What's this, officer? Too sooner than I was led to believe. If it's not inconvenient, some change to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. Gotta go die. Alright, you go die then. We're gonna examine the omnibus again. To present for myself.
So that policeman who came to tell McGilded he could examine the omnibus again.
That's right, an imposter hired by me. McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate.
Strange way of saying it, but okay.
To adulterate the omnibus with all manner of false evidence. He threatened witnesses to lie in their testimony,
So it's also like he got revenge on Gina too. That's why he was trying to frame her for this murder. Because she did have to do with covering up for his dad's death, so.
So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell.
Damn. No hat.
An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death.
A spine-chilling account indeed.
But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see.
A loose end?
Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilded.
Yes. There was indeed no mention of it in the man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had been removed from the scene of the crime.
When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now, one ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What's this? Winterbank's pawnbrokery? Aye, 'tis a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. You can use it to redeem an article I've deposited there for you. There's no need to give a name, just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend the watchword. I'll put a jewel in pawn for you. It'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so it will. I've never heard of a pawnbrokery being used in quite that way before. Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault.
Okay. Dots.
So I knew that if he'd taken steps to hide the disc, it would be on that pawnbrokery somewhere. And that on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone.
Yes, to Gina. I remember now that when we first met you at Winterbanks that afternoon 2 days ago, you had a description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know who you were looking for?
From the trial, that pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately that she was another of McGilded's pawns, that he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion the girl would come out of the woodwork on the redemption deadline.
And he was absolutely right.
And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was to wait until the girl went to Winterbanks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only McGilded's overcoat and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing, because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved.
Inspector, you've recovered fast after being attacked.
My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible, so we started gathering the fella's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going at the yard. We had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc was still there in the shop somewhere. So I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find those articles before the police did.
So that's what prompted you to break into the place that same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers.
What happened that night in the pawnbrokery? I can only describe it as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I'd located the music box I'd sold to McGilded on the shelves of forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside. Yes, I slipped it into my pocket with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? Oof. A gunshot rang out in the shop and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly, but unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Before I knew what was happening, I'd fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge.
Sorry, Dale.
It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash and Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Winterbanks on that wretched night.
Wow. What a long recap. But this was a long, complicated case, so damn. 2 cases in one, pretty much. Oof. What a doozy. Okay. Let's put him in jail and be done with it.
Earlier, you called me Gilded a monster. A man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder.
Ha! Now he's gonna tell him, but you became a monster as well.
What tragic irony. For what you have done is exactly the same.
Yep. Call him out.
You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in me Gilded. Yes, I think I have.
Damn.
Well, this has been a fucking long
Sorry.
and exhausting trial. Like, Biggs is, like, dead. Like, just tired, exhausted.
Oh, Lord.
However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon?
He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Winterbank and the stealing of government secrets.
Should also charge him for the murder of McGilded on top of that.
Very good. And you, Inspector. Regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself.
Yes, my lord, of course.
Which, I mean, Strongheart is kind of to blame for that too, so I wish he would get penalized too.
It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. That fact remains whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable.
Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
I mean, she did commit perjury, so yeah.
Yeah? It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Yes, sir. Gyaradev Squadron standing by, sir. This is really it now. The last push, the final call, the finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver their verdicts.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will now declare your final decisions to the court.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Yeah. Woohoo! We finally did it. That's the stuff. I'm off the No, you're still gonna get in trouble, girl.
Finally, Rudo, you finally managed to do it. I think I aged a whole year.
Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there.
Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world.
Miss Lestrade, I am not finished with you yet.
Eh? What are you looking at me like that for?
Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider, huh?
Eh?
2 months ago, in my courtroom no less, you gave false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Winterbank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGilder's property, it seems.
Oh. Eh? I've never done nothing of the sort.
Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilded's coat in your cell yesterday or anything.
Oh, and just when I was getting excited about throwing a party for Ginny this evening.
And turning our attention to the defense,
Oof. Oh no.
determining that, when played together, the music box disc contained a message in Morse code was... Well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, Counsel.
Are we still gonna be in trouble, though?
Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast.
You're being too nice. I'm suspicious.
To demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom.
Very sorry about that. It was the only way that I could get Inspector Gregson to admit to what he'd done, so...
Okay, well, I thought we were gonna be done, but I don't know how much longer we have to go. So here's what I'm gonna do, guys. I have to stop recording right now, but the next time I record, if the finishing part of this game is really short, then I'll just add it on and you won't even hear this. But if it's longer than like 15-20 minutes, then I might as well just make it its own separate video, unfortunately. But we're here. We're almost like pretty much right at the end. So, okay. I see a light at the end of the tunnel. But if you hear this, if this is the end of this episode, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this. And until next time, have a nice day. Bye-bye.